Ever since the pandemic started, a lot of you have been asking this question. If you get COVID-19 once, can you get it again? So doctors are seeing more evidence that the answer to that question might be no. The South Korean CDC looked into this. They say early on, 277 recovered patients in South Korea, China, and Japan tested positive a second time. But now scientists say those second cases were actually testing failures. They think those tests were picking up dead cells in the body from the first fight against the virus. So they're no longer considered infectious.
And then they checked their blood in a small subset and found neutralizing antibodies in most. However, some of these people did have symptoms. So right now, it's not clear whether they continue to shed virus or whether this is a reactivation, just like we see, for example, in chickenpox and shingles.
New research from Emory University found something similar. Nearly all people hospitalized with COVID-19 developed virus-neutralizing antibodies within 6 days of testing positive.
Not only shows that you've been exposed to the virus and have made antibodies against it, but those antibodies, at least to the extent we've tested now, seem to correlate with blocking of viral infection.
Scientists say this information will help them create a better test and vaccine. But one big unknown is how long that protection will last.
I think going forward, it'll be important to understand the durability of these immune responses over the next few months to years after infection.
Of course, we're also learning about COVID-19, and that includes scientists too. So even though these results are encouraging, they want to remind you that it's still pretty early on in their findings. And again, the big question here is just how long that immunity is going to last. You've probably been to several stores over the past month hoping to find hand sanitizer or Clorox or Lysol wipes. You always find this, empty shelves. And experts say it's probably going to be like that for a while. Patrick Penfield is a professor of supply chain management at Syracuse University. He says the chemicals and ingredients that go into these wipes and disinfectants come from overseas, and it takes about 4 weeks to get them shipped to the U.S. So manufacturers can't get what they actually need to make the products you're looking for.
Lysol, like a lot of manufacturers, they get ingredients from China, and then China had some issues in regards to the coronavirus. And so what we're seeing is this disruption that's happening throughout the supply chain.
Toilet paper has been a different story because a lot of toilet paper is actually made in the U.S. and manufacturers like Charmin and Georgia-Pacific have ramped up their production. So what everyone wants to know is when we're going to see the products back in stores. Experts say it's just kind of hard to tell right now. Penfield says he could see shelves restocked by July if COVID-19 cases go down by the summer, but he doesn't see the demand going down until there's a vaccine or treatment. And as we know, that could be months or maybe even years from now. So Penfield thinks restocking is going to depend on how fast companies like Lysol and Clorox can make the products to meet the demand. In the meantime, they're asking us to not hoard them if we see them on the shelves.
Buy what you need, don't buy any more, because it does impact the supply chain adversely. And so the dilemma we have is that your neighbors, your friends, your mom, your dad, they can't get those products because you may have, a certain amount in your closet.
The manufacturer behind Lysol put out a statement saying they're 100% committed to maximizing supply and production to keep up with demand, and they're doing everything they can to increase supply. If you feel like you're spending more and more money at the grocery store, but you haven't been buying any more food, you're not going crazy. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released new data this past week saying there was a 2.6% increase in prices from March to April. That is the highest one-month jump in grocery prices in almost 50 years. Prices of meat, poultry, and eggs went up 4.3%. Eggs by themselves went up more than 16%. The price of fruits and vegetables were about 1.5% higher, and people paid nearly 3% more for cereal and stuff from the bakery. So the question is why these prices are going up. And one reason is that we're not eating out as much right now.
People are staying home, they're not going out anymore. And so there's a big increase in regards to sales in grocery stores. Grocery stores are seeing on average over 25% sales increases.
That's Patrick Penfield. He's a professor of supply chain management at Syracuse University. He says another reason for those increase in prices is fewer deals in the stores. And that's not going to change anytime soon, probably.
A lot of these grocery stores are not offering things on sale. You're really going to have to do your due diligence as a shopper because you're not going to see many promotions in these stores anymore.
The Food Industry Association says the higher grocery prices are because things like labor costs, lower production rates, and the higher amount of cleaning and sanitizing that has to happen.